are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
Mark, you boy the tank on Twitter. And of course, everyone knows what today is all about. It's all about recapping yesterday's game versus the Kentucky Wildcats in a game that was absolutely embarrassing. That's definitely the biggest news of the week, which of course I'm kidding. Auburn has officially announced, and this has been hours ago. So I was on the road when this happened, and my beautiful fiance had to actively post the social media graphic for me when it happened. But Hugh Freeze is officially gone from Auburn University. The buyout, I think Mike G mentioned that it was a reduced buyout, which is a great news to hear. You know, Auburn has going to become buyout U over the past few years. Paying Gus Malzahn, Brian Harsin, and now Hugh Freeze. They're not coach football anymore. Regardless, I mean, it's great news to hear. I expected Auburn to announce this firing after the Missouri game. I've had this graphic made since then. After that moment, I was like, okay, this team has definitely lost faith in the coach. The fans had lost it earlier in the year. The constant downplaying of what's going wrong with your team, the lack of, responsibility taken was really big. But yeah, Auburn's definitely been in the trenches these past few years, especially, you send out Gus Malzahn, then you bring in Brian Harsin. That went south. And then I can officially say I will back the theory that Hugh Freeze actually is worse than Brian Harsin. He was a good recruiter. That was pretty much all he had on Brian. I think Harsin definitely had a better capability of bringing more talent out of his players, which we just didn't see out of Hugh Freeze. And that's not to say that I think Brian Harsin is a great coach or anything. I think they were both equally bad in their own rights. Just one was better at one thing than the other one, and the other one was better at the other thing than the other one. They are they are synonymously, if you combine them together and get two versions of them, you either get the worst coach ever or you get the best coach of all time. That's practically it. But yeah, we're gonna talk about this game from yesterday first, and then we'll get all out into the open about what's next for Auburn football going forward. The defense sucked. The offense sucked. There we go. The offense was abysmal in this game, and I just realized that I messed up. I misspelled defense. I meant to put defense rocks again. Offense did not do so hot in this one. Kentucky beat Auburn 10-3, and of course that was the nail in the coffin for the Hugh Freeze era. What happened in this game? Well, of course, Auburn put up 3 total points. Only got that 3 points because Elijah Melendez had his first career interception, which got Auburn into field goal range. The offense did nothing with it. One thing that the offense did was ping pong with quarterbacks, and I'm using this as a metaphor straight from my fiance's mouth. That's what she said. We were at the game, and I have never been to Jordan-Hare Stadium where it's been as dead as it was. This was the worst version of Jordan-Hare Stadium I've ever been a part of. It was cold. It was a night game. It was still loaded at the start of the game. 88,000 people were in that stadium, hyped up, ready to go, ready to watch Auburn get a win in SEC play yet again. Add on to last week's win over Arkansas, and by halftime it was 3-3. And dude, people started filing out of Jordan-Hare, and that's insane to say. It was the fourth quarter. It was a one-score game in an SEC conference game. You take put the records aside. 10-3 game in the fourth quarter of 2 SEC teams playing against each other, and people were leaving early. And that pretty much sums up the Hugh Freeze era. You have this fan base that deserve so much more. A championship caliber fan base. You were given a championship caliber defense by DJ Durkin, and you can't muster up to score more than 3 points. 10 points is enough to beat Auburn. That's the Auburn Hugh Freeze is built. 10 points is enough to beat Auburn. And again, you start Ashton Daniels, and I can't really say fully that Ashton Daniels played a bad game. I mean, 13-28, 108 yards. He took a couple of sacks, yeah. But your immediate thought, and this is where I kind of like question the coaching here even more so. You know, you put you in the middle of the fourth quarter, you throw Jackson Arnold back out there. Because, like, what did you do last week? You took Jackson Arnold out of the game because he wasn't doing anything that you were trying to coach him to do, and you put Ashton in there to ignite a spark, and he did. But then you start him this week. You didn't announce him as a starter until Friday, so hopefully you actually were practicing with him with the ones, because it definitely didn't feel like this was a one offense playing when Ashton was in. But then you answered back by allowing your quarterback that you just benched a week ago to go back in there to ignite another spark, and he takes 2 sacks. He completes 2 passes, yeah, but he takes 2 sacks and he loses 8 yards and 5 yards. This is embarrassing. It was an embarrassing game, and I understood that I was on the road today, and I was going to live stream. I was going to record last night, do a pre-recorded show, and I'm glad I didn't. My fiance looked at me and said, "If they fired Hugh Freeze, you're not going to want the episode to go up," and they had fired him. So I stayed true. I drove the 8 hours we were on the road for. I was like, well, I don't know if we're going to get there in time. But yeah, we got to Atlanta. As soon as we got to Atlanta, breaking news, it came out. I thought they waited too long. If you ask me, I was not sold on Hugh Freeze. Like, believe me, there was some hints last year where I was like, you got to get better. You got to get better. You got to get better. This year, it was, you've got to produce now. This is not a moment where we can sit here and be just like, okay, well, this is a tough loss. Can't have that. Because what did Hugh Freeze say in his first press conference? It was, I can turn teams around quickly. I can develop quarterbacks, and I can do all that if you give me 3 recruiting classes. Well, guess what? Hugh Freeze was currently recruiting his 4th class. And you have a losing record in the SEC. You're 1-5. You're not set up well for a bowl game. You have to beat Vanderbilt or Alabama to get a bowl game. And I don't see that as plausible right now, unless Durkin just ignites the fire in this team. This was a horrendous hire in the with hindsight being 2020 from that time period. This defense was awesome. The defense is awesome. Xavier Atkins led the team in tackles yet again. You held a team that likes to run the ball under 80 yards. It was a great showing of this defense yet again. There were times where the defense gave up some plays, but that's going to happen in these games. But what more can you ask of a team if they're only giving up 10 points? Auburn's one of 3 schools that have given up that have not given up 24 points or more in a game this season. And you come home at 6:30 kick. Why this game is at 6:30, I don't know. This should have been a 11:45 kick, if anything. And you let this team you just beat you down because you can't move the football. And Auburn didn't run the ball extremely well, but 118 yards. You averaged 3 yards as a team. You lost a lot of yards because of those sacks. Ashton Daniels took 5 sacks, but he's definitely the better quarterback. But you sit there and you take him out of the game for what? For a guy who couldn't ignite a spark with the full 60 minutes, so you decided with the last 15 he could do it? Absolutely not. So yeah, I when it came to the Missouri game, that's when I was 100% out. I think the Texas A&M game, I was on the fringe. Okay, well, this season's kind of starting to become a wash. Georgia happened, and you answered back with Georgia by just complaining about the refs the whole time when it's not the refs' fault. You didn't put up any points in the second half. It's not the refs' fault that you aren't able to score more than 17 points in a game. You beat Arkansas last week because your offense scored 8 points and Alex McPherson put up 19. That's the only reason Auburn beat Arkansas. It's because Alex McPherson is a dog. And his defense even put up points. If it wasn't for that 2-point conversion, the defense would have put up as much points as the offense did. So Auburn should be looking ahead, and it should be a brighter future, which fingers crossed, but you need to find the right guy. Which, again, I'm looking back at the Hugh Freeze era. I mean, the recruiting was great. The recruiting is great. The class is still pretty much intact. Auburn's only lost one person with Eric Perry. At the restart, he flipped from Auburn to Memphis. But I mean, some of the recruits were like, we're just going to stick with Auburn. I mean, Hugh Freeze wasn't doing all the recruiting. It was Kenyatta Watson. It was these coaches that were working on sign Freeze. But it was just the production on the field, man. I posted when we posted the graphic. We made sure to add the stats in. In 3 years, 15-19 was his record. 6-16 in the SEC. 9-11 in Jordan-Hare Stadium, which is a stadium that should be one of the hardest places to play in the country, and it has not been over the past recent years. And has had 6 starting quarterbacks in 3 years. Yeah. Good riddance is all I can really say. I mean, it's like when Hugh Freeze was hired, again, this is when the show started. When the College Loop started, Hugh Freeze was just recently announced as the head coach. And I remember being young enough to see what he did at Ole Miss. You know, I think that there's some what's the velvet glass? What something like rose-colored glasses or something where you kind of see the bright side and everything. And all I could think about as like at that point a 20-plus-year-old looking back at like 13-year-old me and being so excited about Hugh Freeze beating Alabama 2 years in a row. And that just felt like what the athletic department saw, and that's all they did. All they did to base the hiring was, oh, this guy's beaten Alabama before. That's stupid. Looking back, that's stupid. I don't want a coach that's just based around he's beaten Bama before in his career. I don't want a coach who is, just able to turn the other cheek to the people in charge. There are so many coaches out there that I think could be great for Auburn, and I just don't know if any of them are going to want to come to Auburn after this mess. But I think the bright side is, and this is something I've been saying all along, I said once Hugh Freeze gets fired, and I think that this was not like something I predicted or anything. I think everyone pretty much knew. Once Hugh Freeze got fired, they announced that DJ Durkin would be the interim head coach. And I think a defensive-minded head coach works out so well for Auburn. I mean, he has head coaching experience. I mean, not the greatest in the world. He went 10-15 as Maryland's coach for 2 years. But, I mean, I don't think Maryland was all that great. But, I mean, a lot of stuff was like a toxic atmosphere and some other things that kind of went on behind the scenes. And I'm sugarcoating a lot of stuff just because I don't want to get into all of that. But I think Durkin is the only way you can go right now where you can find a way to maintain consistency with the personnel. I'm all for him pulling a Bob Petrino here and firing half the offensive staff. I think Jake Thornton has overstayed his welcome. I can't tell you what Ben Agamawa does. Preston Howard has been awful all season. Put those freshmen in. I don't know why you haven't. Brandon Frazier has been pretty good. I think you should use him as your receiving tight end. Preston Howard should never. I don't want to see Preston Howard on the field at all. Marcus Davis. Keep Marcus Davis. We need Marcus Davis on the staff. The wide receiver core has been great. It's the play calling. It's been an issue, and that's Hugh Freeze. That's Kent Austin. That's Derek Nix. Again, Derek Nix, good recruiter. I mean, if you can just bring him on to be the running back coach, and that's it, just the running back coach, that'd be fine. That'd be fine by me. But I want Kent Austin gone. I don't think we've seen any quarterback development since he's been here. It's all been regression. I don't know for sure right now if I think Durkin is going to be the guy to stay, which no one does. We won't know until the end of the year. We'll see how Auburn looks versus Vanderbilt and Mercer and Alabama. But if he manages to, if Durkin leads Auburn to a bowl game, I think there's a pathway for him to keep the coaching job for himself, and they take the interim tag off, and then you just kind of give him the keys and like, hey man, you hire your own offensive coordinator, and we'll see if we can keep this keep these people on the team. Keep Cam Coleman, keep Perry, keep Jeremiah, keep Xavier Atkins. Which I mean, the defensive if you keep Durkin, I think you keep the whole defense through the portal, which will be great. But I mean, there were plenty of names going around the place. I mean, I think every one of their mothers heard someone say Summerall from Tulane, which I don't know how I feel about it yet. There have been Georgia's DC. I've seen USF's coach. Which I actually haven't seen USF coach except for from my mouth. But it's all around the place. I think Durkin is going to maintain the abilities Auburn has been doing defensively, but the offense gets so much more interesting. And I think tomorrow press conference will be very interesting to see if they have the press conference as usual with Durkin, trying to see what exactly his mindset is. And again, that set the tone. This defense has been phenomenal all season long. So the offense has just been abysmal. Again, you have the most talented wide receiver core in Auburn football history. You have the most talented wide receiver core in college football right now. You have a offensive lineman who NFL scouts all looked at him and like, okay, this guy, and this guy are going to get drafted. And you have a couple of quarterbacks that were highly touted recruits who aren't doing anything. Ashton Daniels, I think you go into this week with him as a starter. I think you go into this week with Deuce Knight as the backup. You can put Deuce Knight in versus Mercer, and he can keep his red shirt. But good Lord, I don't want to see a Jackson Arnold step on the field at all this season. The rest of the year, I don't want to see Jackson Arnold on the field. I don't want to see a number 11 on the offense whatsoever. I don't want to see it. I felt physically ill whenever Jackson Arnold walked out on the field. Because at that point, you just don't know what you're doing anymore. That's all you've informed me is you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, dude, this is it's bad. I mean, and I don't want to spend the whole time just like bashing Hugh Freeze's coaching. I mean, he sent a statement out and basically, thanked the Auburn family for the constant support. I mean, yeah, Auburn sold out stadium after stadium after stadium after stadium after stadium, and was awarded with loss after loss after loss after loss. It's quite literally comedic. If you're not an Auburn fan, it's comedic. If you're an Auburn fan, it's depressing, and that's what it has been. And I'm gonna go through those comments in a second because I see something I very much agree with. I want to say it's Auburn. Auburn has a bright future ahead of them, which I do think that. It's a program all time that's in the top 15. It's a program that has 9 championships, if you want to count however many you want to count off on that. It's a program that has a history of it, of winning. But these last 5 seasons have been a chore to watch. And you could tell, and I don't know, the next home game is Mercer. It definitely felt like next game will not be sold out. Unless Durkin ignites something versus Vanderbilt. If he upsets Vanderbilt, then everyone's showing up for Mercer. But I just don't know yet, man. This is a tough season to have gone through. Auburn has been tough to watch. So I'm going to get to those comments, and we're going to keep talking about this, and then we'll go to Auburn basketball, which tomorrow it starts. Teresa Vidro, another news, UTSA beat Tulane. Meep. I mean, meep as well. This definitely does hurt the feelings of a lot of Auburn fans out there who thought John Sumrall or who I don't want to say thought as past tense, who thinks John Sumrall was going to be the head coach for the Auburn Tigers next year. Just because immediately goes, oh yeah, he's going to replace Hugh Freeze. Oh, well, now he lost to UTSA. So now I feel like some of those people kind of jumped off the bandwagon. But even then, Sumrall's still a very good football coach. I think he's still going to get Tulane in contention for the playoff spot. But yeah, UTSA is good. I love what Trailer's done at UTSA, and I don't know how he hasn't left yet. I don't know how someone has not tempted him away in the T-Series again. I don't think it ended up being reduced in the end. They tried, unless they discredited what Mike G said. Mike G did say a reduced buyout. I think it was 15 mil. I think it was 26 like last time I checked. I mean, I think it did go down a bit. After Arkansas, I was willing to see if he could win out, but last night was terrible. Absolutely. Playing Dillon was embarrassing. Only scored 3 points against 2-5 Kentucky team at home. That's absolutely the truth. Freeze had no idea what he was doing, putting Jackson on, dashing back and forth. Absolutely. The fact that Preston Howard's on the field and the go-to person was for only shot at a touchdown pretty much sums up the game and maybe this season thus far. Absolutely. Jackson Arnold looks so defeated. He looked defeated whenever he got benched last week. So I don't even understand how that happened. Teresa, again, even though Ashton Daniels got sacked 5 times, he also threw the ball away a lot. That Jackson Arnold would have been sacked for. Arnold would have had 10 to 15 sacks. Some were definitely on the line. They were all over KE. I remember KE. Not who's KE? They were all over KE last night. Let me know who KE is. I'm blanking on initials right now. But yeah, I remember leaving this game, and it felt like Ashton had less sacks than he did. Because I remember Jackson Arnold coming in and getting sacked immediately. Then I went and looked at the box score again. I was like, wait, Ashton Hill got sacked 5 times. Yeah, it didn't feel like he did. Which, I mean, he does a good job of getting out of the pocket. Kel Ellis. Okay. I'm still getting used to having another center in there. I even said Connor Lew in my brain. I was like, that's not him. But yeah, I definitely think it feels different watching Ashton play quarterback than it did Jackson, because Ashton actually runs out of the pocket and tries to keep making a play happen instead of just holding it and just taking the sack. But yeah, it definitely didn't feel like he had 5 sacks. It didn't feel like it at all. Freeze lost the fan base and has pretty much lost the locker room. He had to go. I was the last to jump on the coach bandwagon, but it had to happen after last night, and that was from the weakest link. I agree. Not to that extent. I thought after Missouri it was get him off the field. After Missouri, that's when I sat down. I was like, I want him gone. And I didn't think the Arkansas game did enough to really warrant him staying another week. You only put up 8 points, and again, 1 because of your kicker. That's it. I just don't think that Hugh Freeze didn't seem like he had an idea. And again, one thing, whenever I got back to the car last night, the first thing I did was find the post-game conference. And I sat there and listened to it with my fiance, and she caught the same stuff every time. She's like, why does he keep saying we're close? We've lost like the last 5 games. Why do we keep saying? And I looked at her, I was like, I don't know why I keep saying that. It's insanity is what it is. It's a constant doing the same thing and expecting something else to happen. I cannot stand the constant statement of we're close. And if DJ Durkin says it once, I will not be supporting him as a head coach anymore. I can't take it anymore. I cannot take a coach telling me how close we are. Like, bro, listen, bro, we are 1-5 in the SEC. I don't know what you're seeing. It's year 3 of your job here, and we don't feel close. It does not feel close at all. I don't care if it's only a 7-point loss. I don't care if it's a 3-point loss. I don't care if it's a 20-point loss. We're not close. You're able to beat Arkansas. Cool. That was the 16th team in the SEC. Awesome. But guess what? You couldn't beat the 15th team in the SEC. So I just can't fathom if Hugh will get a job after this. I think that what we saw from him at Auburn kind of left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. He might get a job at a G5 school if he still wants to keep coaching. But dude, it just felt toxic, man. I don't think anyone. I don't think there was a fan left in the stands that left there thinking, okay, we'll see what Hugh Freeze can do next week. Even then, there was like 1,000 people that stayed after the game and chanted, we fire Hugh, and I can't say I disagree with them. I've never been. I have prided myself on whether Auburn is getting their butt kicked or whether Auburn is kicking someone's butt. I am not going to leave a game early. I got so sick at this game watching this offense try to play football, knowing how talented this team is, that I looked over and I said, we should go. We didn't leave, but the sentiment was there. I did not want to watch this team play football anymore. That offense broke me down watching them play. I have never been sitting down. There was a swag surf that happened. It was the lamest swag surf I've ever been a part of. The energy was sucked out the second the team came back on the field. And I hate it too because it was Military Appreciation Day. I was like, this is how you're going to appreciate our fallen soldiers by playing like this. It's just it was an abysmal showing. And again, I have my grades ready to go, and I have my players of the game. And again, I just this game was awful. This game was just awful, and I can't say I'm going to miss Hugh Freeze. And believe me, I wanted to be. I so desperately wanted him to win 8 games. I was praying for 8 and 4. It was, and again, this last season, there were games that broke me down too. But I was like, well, he said he needed another recruiting class. Well, you brought in that one and you sucked. Yeah, I don't know. That Baylor game is such an anomaly to me as to how in the world that game happened. And then we went to Oklahoma 3 weeks later, and then that team showed up. And it's you expect teams to get better week by week. Auburn peaked in week 1 and then didn't know what else to do the rest of the year. And I'm on to the next coach, I guess. I don't know who it's going to be. Hey, it could be Durkin. It could be Summerall. It could be some NFL coach that we're not even thinking of right now. But, man, I am worried about the transfer portal. I am terrified of the transfer portal because I can only imagine if say Durkin gets the job, right? I think you have to talk to your offensive guys that you want to keep and hey man, I know you have the portal right now. You have a window to get in. Let me get in my guy. Let me get in my offensive coordinator. Let him talk to you and just kind of see where you stand on it and then do what you got to do. But if it's not Durkin, I'm terrified of the portal. I think you're talking about some Freeze 5 members going. I think you're looking at some defensive players going who are paced to be legends over here at Auburn. The offseason terrifies me. The offseason absolutely terrifies me. But man. And again, it's one of those things I support every Auburn player wherever they go. When they transfer out of Auburn or when they go to the NFL. But if they transfer out of Auburn, I still wish the best for them, except for 2 schools. And if Cam Coleman were to transfer out and he goes to one of those 2 schools, I'm not gonna. I wouldn't be able to take it, man. But yeah, I just hope there's something that On to Victory can do to kind of keep those guys around. But you need to fight. You need to. None of this settling bullcrap that it feels like Auburn does. I don't want to meet these standards. I'd rather hire a coach that's never played against Alabama than to hire someone because they've beaten Alabama a decade ago. Because what's next? You had Gus Malzahn. He beat Alabama a couple of times, but at Auburn, so you can't bring him back. Hugh Freeze did it. Well, that's how that ended. I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go find Les Miles? Get rid of the standards. All right. Get rid of the standards you have set in place. Get the standards of a winner, a recruiter, and a program builder. That's all you need. I want someone that these players are going to play for. I don't want someone who is, going to sit here and blame the players for everything wrong with his team. That press conference right there that I saw last night, that right there proved to me that he should have been fired before he even got a chance to go in front of a mic. Hugh Freeze can talk about how much he loved Auburn, but dude, it did not feel like a coach who expected to be back coaching the next week. Because I don't think I've ever been as mad watching a press conference than whenever he said something about he asked for patience. Why are you asking for patience? You asked for 3 seasons. You asked for 3 recruiting classes, and you're here after the 3rd recruiting class with a 1-5 record in the SEC, a 4-5 record in just regular play. Set yourself up to not make another bowl game, and you're going to ask for patience. And then you again start off by saying there's no excuses for this loss, and then you keep making excuses for the loss. And I wish him the best health, but he can pack his things and go right now. He get him out of Auburn. There are plenty of other golf courses out there he can go play at. He can spend his $15 million however he wants to. I don't care. You cannot coach my football team if you are going to constantly blame the players and constantly ask for more and more of the fans. You can't do it. You can't do that. You cannot do that at all. But let's do these grades. Offensive player of the week. Talk about some Auburn basketball for a bit, and then let's get up out of here. Offensive grade, F-. Don't need that. You scored 3 points. You get an F-. It should be a demerit. You should get written up. Something, but I guess you did get written up. Defense got an A+. I still think they played a very good game. Xavier Atkins had a good game. Pretty much everyone did. Again, there were plays that happened, so you didn't get an A++ this time around, but you did a very good job in this game. But your teams got a B. There were a couple of punts that kind of went off course, but maybe Malcolm Simmons made a scary catch on a punt return. But regardless, I think the special teams overall did a good job. You scored the points for Auburn with McPherson. So head coaching grade, not applicable. You're not there anymore, so don't know what to give you a grade for. So offensive player of the week, giving Cobb 20 carries, 72 yards. I thought about giving it to McPherson, but I think I gave it to him last week for making 6 field goals. It would be kind of a slap in the face. Give it to him for just making 1. Defensive player of the week, thought about giving it to Xavier Atkins again, but I took the name the award after him at this point. But for getting his first career interception, Elijah Melendez, you are the College Loop player of the week. Which, again, slap in the face just for it being a loss. But regardless, defense played great. Offense was embarrassing. On to the Durkin era, these last 3 weeks. Again, I think if he beats Bama, then he's getting the job, I guess. That's the best thing I can possibly think of. Like, I look back at Cadillac. If Cadillac had beaten Bama that year, I think he would have got the head coaching job. It's all you got to do. It's kind of it's like the people that are hiring the coach kind of say, if you can beat Alabama, you can coach at Auburn without looking at the long-term effects of that. But, I don't think Durkin is a bad spot. I don't think it's a bad decision to make. But again, I just don't know where you're going to go. If you don't want to lose these players you got, I don't know where else you can go but Durkin, because you have a roster that most teams pray to have. You have a roster that if you compare it to other national championship rosters, you're like, okay, yeah, this team should be competing, and they're not. Which I see John Gruden in the comment sections. Please no, I do not want. Gruden is not coached for a football team in like 10 years. So absolutely not. Or however long it's been since he coached the Raiders. Absolutely not. Get out of here with that. How's Auburn going to throw money to keep Cam, Perry, Malcolm, and others? Find it, I guess. Best thing to think of. Tell Hugh to get a job somewhere so you get to keep the $15 million and then spread it. So close. He had 2 years to get it done, but this year was unacceptable or inexcusable. Both. Yeah. Agree. Yeah, this the season felt like it was a wash after that Oklahoma game. Just watching a coach look so defeated and blame everything on the refs, blame everything on the players, blame it. I don't know what this year felt like a year where he thought he could compete, and then once he found out this team couldn't do it or he couldn't do it, he just kind of gave up on everything, and that really sucks. What is the fascination with Gruden, Teresa? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just his energy, I guess. But I mean, I'm not. I do not want to be the first school to hire a coach from Barstool. I don't want to do it. I'm not doing that because at that point you're just a laughing stock, and I will turn the College Loop into the professional loop, and we will just be a Carolina Panthers podcast or something. I cannot go from a person with a bad past to a person with a bad past. I can't do it. I need an upstanding football coach that can get the job done. That's what I need. I don't want any baggage for my next head coach, which that takes Durkin off the menu. Sumrall, dude, Glenn Schumann out of, or whatever his name is, the DC at Georgia, Golish, Jeff Traylor. I just, someone who is not going to walk into Auburn with a giant duffel bag full of baggage. I don't want it. I think Durkin will do the best he can until Cohen announces the next head coach. It definitely felt like Cohen, I guess I haven't really mentioned this, Cohen's comment, kind of saying the search for the next head coach begins immediately. That kind of felt like it's not Durkin comment to me. That's how I felt. It was, okay, well, it's not Durkin. Durkin's interim. Durkin is the interim coach. That's what it felt like. Glenn Schumann, GGS. Okay, yeah, so I got it right. Durkin Baggage is different, and he's already there, so not bringing into it. I can vibe with that, I guess. I'll vibe with that outlook. Plain, I wish we had Lane Kiffin. We got to get off the Lane Kiffin thing, man. Lane Kiffin is not leaving Ole Miss. He would have to get I mean, even his daughter didn't want to come to Auburn. I think the rumor was he had like a contract signed, and they gave him a out that he could have, and then he took it when his daughter said no. At least that's what I've heard. So no idea if that's like actual like facts or not. But I don't think Lane Kiffin's coming to Auburn. I don't think Lane Kiffin's going to Florida. I don't want to be on that Lane Kiffin bandwagon where we're all checking where his dang private jet is going. Where is he at this week taking pictures? I ain't doing that. I'm not part of it. I don't want Lane Kiffin. And that's coming from I don't like Lane Kiffin. I did. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But yeah, again, we won't know until we know. And the top of my list, I mean, I think Alex Golish has been my pick for a while. Just what he's done at USF, getting these players hyped up, making a bunch of 3-star players look like they play like 5 stars. Love what Alex Golish has done over there at USF. He'd be my guy, if anything. Yeah, that's my pick. We're going to quick little break. Of course, let me know what you think in the comments section below. Let me know what you think in the comments as we go. What you think about the Hugh Freeze firing, what you think about DJ Durkin as the interim head coach. Of course, thank you all so far that have already been commenting. Thank you for everyone who has subscribed to the channel already. Of course, we are sitting over here at 1,008 subscribers. So thank you all who have subscribed to the College Loop. Thank you to everyone who supported the College Loop over our 3 years of existence. Thank you to everyone that has helped us grow over here. We're going to quick little break. Let's have this break. We're going to talk about Auburn basketball for a second, and then any last second comments y'all want to make, and then we'll get up out of here. So stay tuned, and we're going to be right back.
Are you tired of having to rummage through just clothes after clothes after clothes looking for something to wear? Are you tired of your friends making fun of you for your terrible fashion sense? Well, do we have the shirt for you? Go to thewarreport.com, get your laptop out and do it right now. Go to the shop and get your very own Feelin' Loopy t-shirt as well as your College Loop hat, and you can get both of them for only $25 each. Plus shipping and handling, of course. But with that, now back to your regular scheduled program.
Of course, get the merch in the College Loop, the store, to thewarreport.com. Go check that out today. Of course, the merch is on One Sport Channel. Best way to support the channel, of course, by liking the video, by commenting on the videos. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Hugh Freeze firing. And, of course, subscribing to the YouTube channel, of course, changing up. We're always evolving over at the College Loop. So thank you to everyone who has already subscribed to the Loop. Yeah, Auburn basketball is back in action on Monday, playing against Bethune-Cookman. I don't really have a whole lot to say about previewing this one, except for the fact that Auburn definitely stepped back up this past week against Memphis, beating them 100-71. And again, defensively, this team looked a lot better. This team took what they saw against Oklahoma State and stepped it up. Again, Keyshawn Hall yet again had himself an absolute day, getting him 20 points. Had Tahad Pepper come off the bench, got 11 points in his time. Only 4 players really had a negative plus minus, or sorry, 3 players had a negative plus minus, which is a good thing to see. I think you saw a lot of good out of Philip Jovic. He's gonna force a lot of fouls this year. Cade Magwood looked very promising, 15 points in this game. Sebastian Williams-Adams had 9 points and fouled out. Keyshawn Murphy got himself 6 points where he fouled out within 14 minutes. Again, overall this team looks the part. This team does look the part. I ultimately think that this, again, I said my ceiling for this team was a Sweet 16. If they continue to build as they have been, I mean, Stephen Pearl knows where he's at. He knows what this team is. He's been with the program since BP got hired the first time around. Not the first time around, but since BP got hired in 2014. This team is legit. I think that the people are going to massively underestimate how good Auburn is this year, and Auburn will be better for it. But yeah, I definitely think that this team is very good. So I'm going to take Auburn to beat Bethune-Cookman. Brian G, like everything, I think Auburn does put up 100 again. Just kind of start off the season hot, and I think they keep it that way. Definitely super excited for Auburn basketball season to be back in action. But yeah, let me just think. Conversation below. What are your predictions for Auburn versus Bethune-Cookman? First game in Neville Arena this season. First game of the season for Auburn. That's not an exhibition game. But yeah, I think Auburn absolutely shows up and shows out. I would love to see a lot more of what Kevin Overton and Elijah Freeman can do. I mean, we saw a lot of Elijah Freeman in the Oklahoma State game, but dude was awesome in that one. I definitely want to see a lot more of Emeka Operum because dude's massive. And again, dude, Keyshawn Hall is next level. I think he's going to match up with Tahad extremely well throughout the season. This team is going to be fun to watch. This team is going to be very fun to watch. That's I don't have a full prediction. I don't know Bethune-Cookman enough. Of course, after week 1, I'll be able to do better previews for it, and we'll have actual episodes centered around the previews. But yeah, I think Auburn's gonna win big in the first game of the season. Brian G, like your prediction, man, 89-29, Auburn over Bethune-Cookman. That'd be awesome. I would jump up from Sweet 16 to Elite 8 just like that, just beating a team by 60. But yeah, super stoked for Auburn basketball back in action. Super stoked for women's basketball back in action later this week. Coach Vickers completely turned that roster around over a course of an offseason, which is awesome. I think that team could do some damage in year 1. Definitely has the pedigree to prove that he can. So super stoked for that. Of course, Auburn baseball getting ready. Fall ball going on right now. Auburn softball getting ready as well. A lot of fun things to look forward to for Auburn athletics throughout the remainder of this year. Don't center yourself on football. You'll get depressed. Venture out. Auburn basketball, women's basketball, baseball, softball, equestrian's good. Volleyball is good. Volleyball is really good. Gymnastics starting up soon. Their preview meets in December. A lot of great things looking forward to for Auburn athletics. You know, I'm Auburn 100%. I wear my ring every day. I'm proud to have been an alum of Auburn University. But man, oh man, I need this football team to get better, and I need it now. But yeah, a couple comments before we get out of here. Is Golish offense or defense from Teresa? I'm not sure exactly what he is. I just know that he is a very good he's offense. Okay, that's where we go. He was previously offensive coordinator at Tennessee. So I'm pretty sure he was the guy who had Hendon Hooker, if I remember correctly. Yeah. There you go. Offensive coordinator for Tennessee the year they beat Alabama. So yeah, big O guy. Yeah, there we go. From Tubbs Tiger. He's a big O guy. But even then, I don't really care about him just being an offensive coach. It's more so the mentality of it. You know, he's a guy who requests and demands more from his team. And again, I think it's me not knowing exactly what he was, and me putting him at number one on my list kind of proves that he gets the most out of his players, and that's awesome. He's my number one. He's my dream pick. I think he's a guy who can quickly keep guys at Auburn, just strictly based off of his attitude. I think he would if Durkin doesn't get scooped up, I think Golish could work out at something with Durkin, and that's another good pick. So we'll see. Born in Moscow and is part of the Pat Dye coaching tree. Actually, really? How old is he? That's okay. Love that. That'd be awesome. But yeah, he's my number one pick. I mean, I guess I gotta do more backstory on Alex Golish. But yeah, he's my pick, man. He is my pick. Super stoked for what Auburn Athletics can do later on in this year outside of football season. I think you and I guess I both agree that Auburn basketball is exciting. I'm behind Coach Stephen Pearl this year, War Eagle. Everyone should be. If you're not watching Auburn basketball supporting Stephen Pearl, I don't know what you're doing. BP did so much for Auburn basketball and just Auburn in general. Whenever he retired, I still remember I cried. I'm man enough to admit that I cried. So whenever he announced Stephen Pearl, I never faulted a little bit in it. I mean, it was definitely like he's got to prove himself, but I think he did a good job of doing that himself, just by sticking around and knowing and understanding that he is going to be the next guy up. So Auburn basketball is going to be good this year. Don't let anyone on Twitter tell you otherwise. Don't let any Bama fan try to think that they're some better team for that. Auburn basketball will be good this year. The Pat Dye coach of a coach of a coach, isn't he young? I just patted his Wikipedia up. I did not look at his age. He is 41 years old. Good Lord, he started coaching in 2003. He was a high school D-line coach. I'm trying to think. He did coach at UCF in 2020. So yeah, he would have coached under Heupel at UCF, but then he did get pulled over to Tennessee as well. Beat Alabama. So there you go. He beat Alabama. He's on the list. I want Charles Kelly to keep Durkin and gotta get a Weiss Jr. / Brady. Is that Joe Brady? Because Joe Brady ain't coming back to college, man. If that's Joe Brady, he's not coming back to college. He's holding out for NFL head coaching job. But yeah, Golish did beat Alabama in his career, so food for thought. But yeah, my guy is number one. But yeah, Auburn. Hugh Freeze is no more. DJ Durkin is the current head coach and will be for the remainder of the season. We're gonna get out of here. We've been going on for about almost an hour now. So go on, get out of here. Keep commenting. Let me know what you think about the head coaching switch. Who do you want Auburn to hire as their new head coach? Let me know what you think this recruiting class is going to look like, because we only lost one. I think some of the recruits I've seen are still pretty much locked in. But we'll see, man. We'll see what this team looks like next year. But again, basketball's coming up. Softball, baseball, gymnastics, they're coming. They're getting better. Brent Key would be a dream, but again, I think Brent Key is kind of locked into Georgia Tech. He like Clark Lee. He's at his school that he wants to be at. I don't think he's leaving that anytime soon. But of course, I'm Dylan Ableton on Twitter. Thank you everyone who has subscribed to College Loop already. Thank you everyone who has liked the video, comment on the video, and will comment on the video. Thank you all. Follow us on social media, literally all of them. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the works, all at the College Loop. Check me out on Twitter at Boy Tank. Check me on Instagram at Dylan Lark, at DYLNLRCK if you got to help me spell it out. And of course, all been said. Thanks for tuning in to the College Loop Podcast yet again. Thank you to everyone who's watched it. We have had a lot of viewers, even though we're an hour late to the show. But thank you all that have tuned in. Thanks for tuning in to Summit College Loop Podcast yet again. And as always, War Eagle.